Woman, so resilient, no illness can take your love away, no years can take your strength away. Cooking pots and clothes shops, building homes from nothingness, yielding love broken in tongues that we cannot truly communicate in, but our faces sing stories deeper than any words can say. To the mother who only speaks to me in Urdu and Punjabi, to the mother who made my hands write English poetry, to mothers who bless us abundantly. For everything we have, for their steps in our strides, for their waves in our tides, for their breaths in our lives, for our truth in their lives. Are you hungry? No, she says. Pushes her plate so I eat more, even though she herself has not finished. Peace be upon the stained hands that crushed chili and sadness simultaneously. Peace be upon the shoulders that carried more than just my burden. And to you who thinks his own wings give him flight, may you never forget that love which never diminished. May you never forget that shelter that never asked for recompense. May you never forget that womb which housed you and her prayers as defense. And may you never raise that voice of yours in front of her again. Speak, pick up. May those missed calls never be missed again. Okay. Wow. All right, so the final poem, which I'm going to be doing, to all my non-South Asians, people who don't know what charpai is, and if you're Desi and you don't know what charpai or manji is, I'm very sorry. Like, that brown melanin is to be checked up ASAP. Nah, I'm joking. Charpai is it's four feet, right? That's what it translates to, 4 feet. I'm looking at, right, Raza, sorry, I'm looking at you for verification and authentication, but so it's a 4 feet and it's a 4-poster bed. Or like a day bed. I don't know how to describe it. And I would love to have a picture. Maybe Ahlul-Bayt Collective can put one up later on, but don't worry. But this poem is one of the first poems I ever wrote for performance and actually pushed me into performance. So art by means 4 feet. You guys can look at that. And it's dedicated to my dadi, my grandmother, my paternal grandmother. But this poem is not called charpai, it's called artpai. So that means 8 feet.
If you could just give me a second here. I'm going to interrupt you. Sorry, I'm coming in. It's important, very important. Here's the charpai.
Oh, mad. Yeah, that's the charpai. Yeah.
There we go. All right, I'm going to get
thank you so much. That's sick. Look at that, audience participation in that. Okay, great. So this is called artpai. They call it a manji. Charpai because it has 4 feet, except this one had 8. So we would call it artpai. My 2 that would dangle and her 2 that would sit firmly on the ground. Out of 20 grandchildren, I'd like to think I was her favorite. I can hear her speaking melodically, singing poetry I could never understand, narrate to me stories of joy, of love, of heartbreak, incomplete and missing parts and pieces. And at times I would weave them into a blanket. So by her side, I would fall asleep to bitter nostalgia I had never known. Some of those pieces became mosaics, tiled between Punjabi geometric designs that scattered our veranda, and it still sits in the back of my mind, a foreign place I call home. I see her, poised like a photograph. Her skin, a beautiful golden sand, aging into majestic rusty bronze, stretching onto every part of her bone intricately, with each silky wrinkle glistening in the harsh Punjabi sun, juxtaposed by her white nails dipped at the tip by the amber shades of mehndi, her fingers decorated with gold and firoza stones from sacred lands, which she would adorn and adore. And I picture her. She's sitting by our artpai because her feet would sit firmly on the ground whilst my feet would dangle from it. She's sitting in the sun, popping peas from their skin, shredding moolies into chunks, cutting papita from our land and teaching me how to flesh a chonsa mango with only your mouth. I see her. as the adhan breaks in the morning, pray, then sits by the chulla, refusing anyone to make my tea for me but her, orders that the desi ghee parathe should be made with dollops of it unashamedly, that the lassi she has made will go alongside the miski roti, which for the record is her own recipe, makes churi, and like a bird to her chicks, feeds me with her own hands, and God forbid should I refuse. And at night, she will lay on our art by, her tired legs stretched and mine just dangling off the side. She will tell me folk tales mixed with her own stories about the brave grandfather I never met, about her Sikh friends that during Azadi fled, about giving birth to 5 children and banquets for saintly nights she spread, about the mustard spinach she cooked and the mustard oil in her hair, about the alam above our home which flies, about the Quran she would hold above her children's head, once when her daughters wed, and the others for when her sons left for Veled, she wept. And I would ask her, why don't you move with us and stay there? With her sons and daughters, all who tried, but she cannot give up the Punjabi sun for her sons, she says, nor the land she was born in. But it's the graveside she can never let go of, where in the morning rise she scatters petals, burns an agarbatti, and weeps for her broken heart. I visit with her. She tells me, bow my head, place 3 fingers into the ground and pray. She points next to my grandfather's grave. That's her spot where she will lay, and I laugh, saying, I will be there before her, and we walk for years on end. Our routine's still the same, past the darbar, through the bazaar, and to watch the sunsets over the rural green lands. And I see her, awaking from dreams with cold sweats, calling out names that no longer respond, but she hopes they will. They visit me, she says, because they never said goodbye properly. And I see her, as young as ever, my best friend who years could not age, her clothes crisp white cotton, her favorite type, pressed precisely, worn elegantly. She says, I will buy her a jora. And I do, and she smiles and gleams. Age 16, I remember from my first pay slip, like I promised from the age of 10, she held onto it, stitched it, and tells me over a crackly phone line that she thinks it's Sorna, just like me. And I see her, welcoming me with open arms and teary eyes. I could never truly explain why we wept when I met, why we wept when we left, and maybe only those that live between 2 spaces can relate the magical feeling to call 2 places home, but the anguish when you leave one for the other. And I see her as the art by breaks for Chad by getting ready to see me off. Unusually this time she will not weep. My car is ready for the airport. She looks on, the Quran in hand, broken-hearted but strong, and through windows that separate enough to see but not enough to touch, the car stumbling. And I tell the driver, be gentle, for she is weak. She pushes it like a dolly leaving her mother's home. I see it in her eyes, which simultaneously summate oceans and fresh waters alike. They say it's a blessing to know when your time is up. The frame was her casket. Her children gathered, her body laid and taken, so the next time I return, the morning breaks. I see a jarpai because her feet no longer are firmly on the ground, so I'm unsure where to dangle mine, so I close my eyes. I see her rising, like the harsh Punjabi sun, but in my mind, she never sets. Thank you.
Really amazing. Thank you. I really love your unique cadence that you have in each of your poems. Thank you for sharing. Now, before we move to the open mic portion where we have 3 amazing poets who have signed up, I want to send out a final thank you to our 4 amazing featured poets tonight. Really, thank you. You all did amazing, and we really appreciate that you were here tonight. And a special hand to Zain, Haider, Awan, who is performing from Britain. So it's like 3:30 over there or something. I'm not good with time, but yeah, that's dedication.